Let me ask you a question, and be honest. How many times have you said, "This time I'm serious"? You got the gym membership, bought the books, made the plans, and 2 weeks later, you're back where you started. Why? Why do we keep starting over? Because starting is easy, but staying started. That's where the discipline lives, and discipline. Well, that's the price most people never pay. Most people have no trouble getting started. A new plan, a fresh goal, a big dream, it lights a fire inside you. You feel unstoppable, full of energy, and ready to change everything. That first day at the gym, the first page of the journal, the first early morning, it feels powerful. But the truth is that energy doesn't last, and that's where most people fall. They confuse the excitement of starting with the strength of commitment. Starting is easy because it doesn't require endurance. It only requires emotion. And emotion, like the weather, changes. One bad day, one skipped workout, one moment of self-doubt, and you stop. And once you stop, you often stay stopped. That's the problem. The path to success doesn't demand more starts. It demands that you stay started. Jim Rohn said, "Success is not to be pursued. It is to be attracted by the person you become." And who do you become? You become the person who keeps going when it's no longer easy, no longer fun, no longer exciting. That's who wins. People think the champions are those who keep restarting with greater force. But the real winners are the ones who don't quit in the quiet moments. The dull, uninspiring, invisible days when no one is cheering. That's where success is born, not in the rush of a new beginning, but in the quiet grind of continuation. The challenge, then, is to stop chasing fresh starts and start building lasting habits. Discipline is boring, yes, but it's the most powerful thing you'll ever develop. Because it makes you reliable, and when you're reliable, success becomes inevitable. So if you're tired of starting over, stop making starting your goal. Make continuing your mission. When people begin a new journey, whether it's fitness, business, or self-improvement, they often feel driven by excitement. But excitement fades, and when it does, many lose their momentum. Why? Because they never took the time to deeply understand why they started in the first place. Without a strong reason behind your actions, the smallest obstacle can become an excuse to stop. Your why is what anchors you when things get hard. It's not just a goal, it's the reason that goal matters. If your reason for change isn't powerful, personal, and emotional, you'll give up the moment motivation disappears. People don't quit because the goal is impossible. They quit because they don't remember why it mattered. Think about the times you quit. You were probably focused on how uncomfortable it felt in the moment rather than what you were fighting for. Maybe it was losing weight, building a business, or improving a relationship. But if your only reason was "I want to," it wasn't enough. You need a reason that reaches deeper, a vision that connects to your identity, your future, and your values. Jim Rohn often spoke about the power of purpose. He said, "When the promise is clear, the price is easy." If you truly understand the promise, the reward, you'll be willing to pay the price. That means putting in the effort, staying consistent, and pushing through resistance. When your why is crystal clear, you won't be swayed by temporary emotions. Clarity creates power, and power creates persistence. So before you start again, pause. Ask yourself, why am I doing this? What's at stake if I don't? Find the answer that stirs something in your soul. That's the why that will carry you through, and once you find it, never let it go. Motivation feels like magic when it's there. It lights you up, fills you with energy, and makes everything feel possible. That's why so many people wait for it. They wait for the perfect mood, the right time, the moment they feel like it. But here's the hard truth: motivation is unreliable. It comes and goes without warning. If you build your life around motivation, you'll live in a cycle of bursts and crashes. That's why discipline matters more. Discipline doesn't care how you feel. It doesn't rely on inspiration. It shows up whether you're tired or energized, discouraged or excited. It's the quiet decision to keep going no matter what. Discipline is boring, predictable, and often uncomfortable, but it's the foundation of every successful person's life. The people who achieve their goals don't always feel like it. They simply do it anyway. Jim Rohn once said, "The pain of discipline weighs ounces, but the pain of regret weighs tons." That couldn't be more true. When you choose discipline, you're choosing small, daily victories. They may not look impressive in the moment, but over time, they stack up into transformation. Motivation might get you started, but it's discipline that keeps the promise alive. The difference between those who succeed and those who don't is rarely talent. It's the ability to do what needs to be done, even when the feeling is gone. That's the edge discipline gives you. Waiting for motivation is like waiting for perfect weather to plant a seed. You'll wait forever, but those who get up and plant daily, rain or shine, eventually reap the harvest. So train your discipline. It won't be loud or exciting, but it will be consistent, and consistency is what wins. Every time, there's a pattern that keeps many people stuck in the same place, year after year. It starts with excitement. A new goal sparks energy. Something finally clicks, and you say, "This time it's going to be different." You take action. Maybe it's hitting the gym, waking up early, or starting that project you've been putting off. For a few days, you're on fire. You feel powerful and in control. But then it happens, a small setback. A missed day, a moment of doubt. Something disrupts your rhythm, and you stop. What follows is waiting for the right time to begin again. You tell yourself you'll restart next Monday, or next month, or when you feel ready. And eventually you do start again, only to repeat the same cycle. Excitement, action, obstacle, stop, wait, restart. This is how people spend years working on themselves, without ever actually changing, because they never build momentum. They live in a loop of starting and stopping, instead of growing and evolving. Progress doesn't come from doing something once in a while. It comes from showing up repeatedly, especially when it's difficult. Breaking this cycle means doing something different when the obstacle comes. Instead of stopping, you adjust. You don't throw away the entire plan because of one bad day. You recommit. You continue. Jim Rohn often said, "Don't major in minor things. A single setback is minor." Don't give it the power to knock you off course. Real change happens not in the first few days of action, but in how you respond to resistance. If you learn to keep going when the excitement fades and discomfort sets in, you'll break the cycle for good. That's when progress truly begins. Many people make the mistake of relying on motivation as the driving force behind their goals. They believe that if they just stay motivated, they'll stay consistent. But the reality is that motivation is unreliable. It rises and falls like the tide. Some days, you wake up ready to take on the world. Other days, you struggle to even begin. If your progress depends on how you feel, you'll never make it far. That's why consistency is far more powerful than motivation. Consistency isn't glamorous. It doesn't always bring quick results. But over time, it builds habits, strengthens discipline, and creates unstoppable momentum. When you show up day after day, regardless of how you feel, you train your mind to follow through. That's how you build trust in yourself. And when you trust yourself to show up, you don't have to wait for the perfect mood to act. Jim Rohn emphasized the value of small disciplines practiced daily. These little efforts may not seem like much in the moment, but they compound. Just like saving a small amount of money every day eventually leads to wealth. Small actions done consistently lead to success. One workout won't transform your body. One good decision won't change your life, but doing it consistently will. The key is to remove emotion from the equation. You don't ask yourself whether you feel like doing the work. You simply do it because it aligns with who you're becoming. That shift in mindset is powerful. When you stop relying on motivation and start leaning on consistency, you become unstoppable. You become someone who follows through no matter what. Don't chase the high of temporary motivation. Build the quiet strength of daily consistency. That's what creates real, lasting change. One of the biggest mistakes people make when they fall off track is thinking they have to start over from zero. They erase their progress, mentally reset everything, and begin again as if nothing good ever happened. This mindset is discouraging and unnecessary. The truth is, you're never starting from scratch. You're starting from experience, from lessons learned, and from a deeper understanding of yourself. Every attempt you've made has given you something valuable. Don't throw it away. Progress isn't a straight line. It's messy. It includes missteps, restarts, and days when nothing seems to work. But each step, even the backward ones, teaches you something. Maybe you learned what triggers your distractions. Maybe you found out which routines actually help and which ones drain you. That's not failure. That's data. Use it. Build on it. Jim Rohn said, "Learn to turn frustration into fascination." Instead of getting upset with yourself for slipping, get curious. Ask why it happened and how you can adjust. Then keep going, not by resetting everything, but by continuing forward, stronger and wiser than before. Success doesn't belong to those who never fall. It belongs to those who fall, pause, and keep walking. Even if you slow down, even if you take a break, the important thing is that you don't go back to zero. Momentum is built by holding on to progress, even if it's imperfect. Next time you feel like quitting, remind yourself, you're not starting over. You're continuing the journey. The road may have detours, but you're still heading forward. And every step forward counts. Keep building. Keep growing. Just don't erase your effort. Respect the work you've already done by building on top of it. That's how real transformation happens.